Well, look, I think authorities in Poland and in Ukraine, likely as well, are still trying to work out exactly what happened here. But what we know at this moment is that the Polish military said overnight it was monitoring at least a dozen, it said, missiles over Western Ukraine that they said could pose a threat to Polish airspace. Then at one point after 3 o'clock in the morning, they noted that one unidentified object had crossed into Polish airspace. It then promptly disappeared from the radar, and Polish police then said that they found wreckage, a crater and scattered debris, maybe in those pictures that we're showing now, in a village. We think we can show you a map of roughly where that crater is located, about 90 kilometers or so from the border. So this is fairly deep into Poland, mounting of course, the concern around this. The Ukrainian foreign minister is saying that a Russian Kh-101 cruise missile crashed into Polish territory. We don't know if it's the same missile that made that crater. It's still, at this point, an unidentified object that we're dealing with here. And there's no way to know, of course, if this was deliberate or targeted. These are cruise missiles. If it was one, high precision weapons. But still, that work is still ongoing to determine what happened there. But it does come after a spate of warnings from Poland, from the Baltic countries, those closest to Russia, of the higher potential at this point in the war for Russian provocations, hybrid or other types of attack. The Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk warned just a few weeks ago that Poland was preparing for every scenario. He didn't want to scare anyone, he said, but those intensive preparations were underway. No reaction from NATO as of yet. Poland is, of course, a NATO member, but we are keeping an eye out for that. And, of course, this highlights very clearly, Poland, the risks, the spillover risks of this war, especially as these aerial attacks, these overnight aerial attacks escalate.
In terms of the latest strikes that we've seen launched specifically in Kyiv, Claire, I'm wondering if you could bring us up to speed on what we're learning there.
So, look, this was a pretty major overnight attack. Even with that projectile crossing into Poland, we can't lose sight of the damage that it was inflicted on Ukraine. Multiple different areas of Ukraine were affected. And it comes, of course, 36 hours or so after President Zelensky was in the White House with Donald Trump, making an urgent plea for more help when it comes specifically to air defenses. I think it's notable because previously, when we've seen meetings between Trump and Zelensky, President Putin has tried to get in and speak to Trump as well. We didn't see that this time. Instead, we simply see more